Okay, I can see us in the Facebook preview.
Paul, are you going to smoke in front of me again and make me wish I could smoke my cigar in the house?
Probably. I might even
we're up on YouTube
tonight.
Okay.
Ooh, well, I'm really mad now. What kind?
It's a Nicaraguan. It's a doggone it. I wish I could see like I could 20 years ago. It's a Monte Cristo Nicaraguan. Got it when I was down in the Virgin Islands.
Ah. Do they limit how much you can bring back with you, or is it basically whatever you can fit?
No, they limit what you can bring back.
Okay, and live video starting on Facebook.
You'd think they'd want your money. I mean, really?
The federal government, but they don't want you bringing back. It's mostly the states that have said, you know what, we want that tax money. We don't want them bringing in. We don't want them bringing in a lot of tobacco products from other areas where we're not getting taxes on it.
Yeah, like Utah wants their 81% excise tax on all. No, actually, it's even higher on tobacco. 81% is our excise tax on alcohol. Tobacco's even higher. Okay, we are live on everything.
I can see on YouTube, I see comments coming already, which is cool. It's just good evening, but I know I can see YouTube. I do not know that I can see Facebook.
I can see Facebook.
Okay. So, ready to hit the intro? So we've got our start point?
Not yet. Give me 1 minute. I got to clear one more thing out of here.
No worries.
It's fine. My leg's falling asleep. I'm trying to decide what to do about it. Cutting it off seems extreme, but
you're already doing that enough.
Could be a little extreme.
I'm already losing a few, so.
All right. I'm ready whenever you are, Brian.
Okay, let's hit it.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Reasonable Person Podcast. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm one of your co-hosts. Joining me today, your other two co-hosts, Brian De Almeida and Kat Ainsworth. The topic tonight is going to be prepping. And really, I kind of think of this almost as a prepping 101. These two did a prepping episode while I was vacationing down in the Virgin Islands, but we're going to dive back into that, open up a little bit more and talk about more of prepping than they did on the first one. And I don't think we planned out a left turn for the end of the show, but I'm sure we'll do one.
We'll find something.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, let's go ahead and by the way, if you're catching us live on YouTube or Facebook right now, you can make your comments, ask your questions, or, however you can interact with us, and we'll discuss your comments or questions on the air. Just comment. We get it after a few seconds, and we'll run with it from there. Kat, among the three of us, I think you are the most accomplished, using air quotes here, prepper. Let's bring everybody up to speed. What got talked about on the last prepping show, and where did that kind of leave off?
On the one we did before, it was really just snowstorm related. It was for the winter storms and making sure you could run your generators, and the absolutely ludicrous nature of thinking that toilet tissue is going to save you. So it was really winter storm. It was not long-term prep related, like the hunting, canning, fishing, freeze drying, and not all that stuff.
That's right. We made fun of Southerners for their milk sandwiches.
It's true, we did. So I can't promise no one gets made fun of tonight, though. And honestly,
I can pretty much promise somebody will get made fun of tonight.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the three of us are actually really good examples of the different extents and stages and also just regional locations for prepping. and what you're doing, because we're in very different states. I believe very different living areas too. So I think that we all have something to offer, because not everyone has the time, the space, the access for everything. So it varies. Like, Paul, what do you guys do for let's
Well-
play the Armageddon game. Tomorrow the nuke gets dropped because Iran gets its way. Okay, maybe not a nuke, but maybe an EMP.
bomb.
I don't know.
I've got two different preps that I consider. Number one is the household prep, and we always keep spare water. We keep a lot of food here, shelf stable food, canned food. We're set pretty much to live. I'm gonna guess for about 30 days, just from what we have in the house, and we constantly are using and replenishing. Second prep is an everyday thing that I have to do because of my job, and that is trucking. And I have set up, I can live, no kidding, out of the truck, with the exception of using the bathroom. I can live totally self sustained in the truck for 2 weeks.
What about showers?
That's part of bathroom, dude.
Okay.
He's just gonna stink. He's just gonna stink.
And well, and
That's all there is
I
to
do
it.
carry I do carry baby wipes with me. I'll be just dead honest. As a trucker, I do not shower every day. I don't ever break a sweat. I usually shower every other day, and I in the truck. I mean, if a nuke hits, if the computer system all goes down, I have to try and make it home, and I would have to try and make it home anyway. But yeah, showering, all that kind of stuff is not going to happen if the grid goes down and they can't tell if I need it, if I have a free shower or not. I'm just going to have to make it home.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, I've got enough fuel in my truck. I will not let the fuel run low enough that I cannot drop the trailer and make it bobtail back home with just the truck.
Curiosity. Total curiosity question. So let's assume you have like a full load. What's the mileage difference with and without it?
You're going to get roughly 4 times the mileage bobtail as you are going to be loaded.
Makes sense. It does make sense. Do you have like paper maps still in the trucks? I remember the old Thomas guides.
Not Thomas guide. I have a trucking guide. I have a trucking atlas.
Okay.
And I have both on my phone and on my tablet. I have truck routing software. But when I started driving, guys, there was no such thing as truck GPS. You had to know how to use a map. You had to know how to read directions. You had to know how to watch for signs that California 99 ends here. It merges with Interstate 15. And you had to learn to, that you want, when you got onto exit 15, you wanted exit 8 down in San Diego, and then turn left and look for X Street, turn right there. You honestly, you get, and here's a little bit of trucking information for the regular person. If you don't have Google Maps available to you, maybe you stop paying your phone bill or something and your phone isn't working, you get the directions. You grab a dry erase marker, you write them down on your windshield. Then once you got where you're going to go, and you can follow it because you don't have to look down at the paper. You got the directions right there on your windshield. Just take a paper towel, wipe them right off, and your windshield's good as new.
Huh, I never would have thought of that. Yeah, I mean, I think I may have been the last generation to be raised to read maps. I don't think it's a thing in school anymore. I don't think they teach it. And I know everyone relies on their GPS constantly. So I think a lot of people would be super screwed if there was, if there was no internet, no data, nothing. Most people don't even own maps. I have more maps than I probably should, but I'm paranoid. So
I'm
But
right
we'll
there
have
with
a
you,
little
George.
paradise.
California 99 is horrible. Yes, it is. And honestly, any road in Houston, it says LA traffic is so bad. New York traffic is so bad. Washington, D.C. traffic is so bad. Washington
Atlanta.
is horrible. Atlanta, Houston, I don't care if it's 3 a.m. on Christmas morning. There's a backup on the Beltway.
There is. I hate Houston for many
I've never
reasons,
been
but
there.
yeah, the traffic is horrific. And just the way it's designed, it's like they were completely drunk, out of their minds, and possibly also high when they did it. So, yeah, I hate going through Houston. Got a question from KB Berry on Facebook. He says he's been deer hunting in Texas since '78. He's harvested a few truckloads of whitetail and axis. Axis is so good. He's only processed 2 of them himself. So he's wondering about the best setup to get started grinding meat and making breakfast sausage. So the good news is that you can go pretty small scale with processing your own meat. I've been doing it for I don't even know how many years now. If you have a KitchenAid mixer or any stand mixer and you don't mind working on a very slow moving small scale, you can buy trays and blades, and there is an additional piece that makes it so the mixer itself doesn't turn. And you can grind whatever you want, and there's sausage attachments for it.
Yep, I've got one of
You
those.
do have to know which sausage casings to buy. Some of them taste like crap. Some of them are too thick. Some of them are too thin. Totally depends on that. I cure mine, and that's worth it too. I know not everybody does, but curing is a good idea. And then if you smoke it first and just do like a slow smoke, it's awesome. If you want to go a little more tabletop, Weston mixers and grinders are fabulous, and you're not spending thousands of dollars. You can get a few hundred. You can get a decent Weston for your tabletop. They have multiple grind plates, sizes, speeds. I have one that I've been running for, I want to say 10 years, 0 hiccups. So the things to have: a grinder, whether it's an attachment for your KitchenAid, or a Weston or something similar, and a food saver, because you really do need that. Ziploc bags are just a no if you want it to last. And
more than a few weeks, because that'll get freezer burn inside there. They say they're airtight. They're not.
Yeah. There's even the
That's
ones that
true.
now they're special airtight, these so are not. It's crazy. And then there's seasoning packets. AC Legs is an easy seasoning packet line. It makes fabulous seasonings for all the meat. But doing it from scratch is better. Always tastes better. And I've got a killer one for chorizo that I got from Pat Mighton, who is actually out here hunting hogs right now. Really good chorizo from scratch. Fabulous. But yeah, it's not hard at all to get started. You're just looking at, you have knives and cutting boards, so you can cut it up. You get a grinder of some sort and get a food saver. You can always just do it all unseasoned. So it's time consuming, but it's worth it too, because you actually know you're getting your own meat back and all of the meat.
Mm-hmm.
Because some processors dump it all in the same bins. Not all do, but a lot of them do. Some of them are lazy or inexperienced and waste meat. So yeah, definitely do it yourself. And
Helps
sometimes
to
I get
have
freaking
something to
tired
hang
of
a
it.
carcass off of. But
It
you
does,
can work
but
around that.
I am a redneck more than I usually admit, and I have no problem parting out a deer on a tarp in my living room. I've done it a million times. I will do it. I am that person who is like, it's cold outside, and I don't want to be outside, so I'll just bring it in here and do it. And it's pretty fast. Just section it up, and it doesn't take that long. If you want to keep the ribs, which on the fat does, the ribs are fabulous also. Get a good bone saw for that that's sturdy to cut those up. But
Angle grinders work, just saying.
that too.
Right blade on a
That's
sawzall will do it too.
They get stuck sometimes though with the sawzalls. Because I have them, but they don't seem to like bone too much. Not that I would know anything about that from like humans or anything, but animals. We're talking about animals.
Sure, we are.
Do you have anything on YouTube, Paul?
No, just one. I want to get another one from George Geller. I want to pop up there. No snowstorms here, but a zombie apocalypse is possible. I think George lives in Southern California.
Yep.
we are going to be getting the media is going all snowmageddon on this one. We've got blizzard warnings out for tomorrow. We've got we're supposed to be getting 3 to 5 inches of snow. Big deal. But we're supposed to be getting at the same time 50 to 60 mile an hour sustained winds. That is kind of a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
Minneapolis is going to get it much worse than us. I feel really bad for their Leering centers up there, but one more from George here real quick. If we write everything in cursive, the kids won't know what we're up to. God, isn't that the truth?
There's something else that Kat and I were the last generation that really got that.
Yeah, I tried to teach Grace, but hers still looks like chicken scratch. So
Jim says, I brought a grinder kit from Bass Pro. Very happy with it. Not super quality, but good for a couple deers a year.
Yeah, the small ones will work if you don't do a large quantity. I average like 10 a year plus all the pigs and stuff. So I will break those. It's because they are pretty flimsy, but they'll work just for like 1 or 2 deer here and there.
Don't get your equipment from Temu, whatever you do, or Temu, or whatever they call themselves, or Wish.
You never know. Every once in a while they're legit, which is creepy. But
yeah, most of that is production overruns from Chinese factories because it's a command economy. So sometimes high quality stuff gets dumped on there. Most of it is low quality junk that gets dumped on there because it's not about making how much you can sell. It's making how much you were told to make.
Yeah.
And then they use those outlets to sell it however they can.
So Brian, what is your top prepping tip? Because I may be wrong, so you guys can totally correct me if I'm wrong. So what I think is that Brian probably lives in the most suburban area.
Yes,
with the biggest
much
population.
To my dismay.
And then Paul's in the middle, and then I'm at the bottom of that one, with small town. So what's your, and in like an urban area, what's your plan?
It is food, water, tools, ammunition, firearms, of course, and it is deliberately building community with my neighbors as much as I would rather just hermit. Because the fact of the matter is, if things were to go bad, I am stuck around these people, and it's going to work out a whole lot better if we have positive interactions and have positive relationships. So my little subdivision of, I think, of 82 houses is pretty well walled in, has one point of access that if we really needed to, we could block. And unfortunately, we've got pretty decent people here. Most of them are quite a bit older, but there's also lots of LDS people, so there is lots and lots of food storage here. Beyond what I have, but it's the most likely scenario for us is for where we're located. Civil unrest isn't going to be a huge one because we're pretty far away from any downtown area and any of the municipal government stuff. If it got really bad, it could. But the most likely thing for us is going to be earthquake or some kind of storm that causes a utility interruption that may last a couple of weeks.
Right.
Depending on the direction of the wind at the time, you could be. Let me rephrase this. No matter the direction of the wind at the time, you're gonna be in a world of hurt should Yellowstone actually go.
Oh yeah. If the Yellowstone caldera goes the way it could, we will not exist.
So do we really think the caldera will, though? I mean,
it's a given it's a given in a geological scale, which is sometime the next 50,000 years.
Exactly. So we were so scared that was going to blow when I was a kid living up in Washington. I mean, I'm starting to think that my biological parents were serious alarmists with problems. but because the stuff they worried about was like, why?
Yeah, the most likely thing here for us as far as natural disasters go is a serious earthquake, because we've got a number of faults that have not had major slips in a long time, so there's a lot of energy built up. We've been getting more frequent minor earthquakes over the last decade or so, and other than that, probably an extreme storm, be it snow or rain, that causes some flooding. But our stormwater management's pretty good, and our infrastructure for dealing with snow is pretty good. And where I'm in, the Salt Lake metro area, the utilities are all based here, and they're pretty good at getting things back up. But,
yeah, I mean,
there's
you bring up a good point though. Earthquakes.
Oh yeah.
Some people dismiss prepping of any nature, and I actually hate calling it prepping, but some people dismiss it because they literally think this only matters in an end of the world situation. But how many people during COVID had no freaking food within days? That was mind blowing for me. I'm like, how do you not have anything in your house?
Yeah, your grocery store has 2 to 3 days worth of stock before the shelves are pretty much empty.
Yeah. So if they can't ship, you're screwed. If you can't get there, you're screwed. And it's just walking to one here would be a nightmare.
Yes.
People don't think that it's the natural disasters and the completely plausible occurrences that are going to get you. And Brian, you brought up ammo too. So I have to do an informal poll. How much ammo does everybody think we need? Let's say grid down, absolutely no ETA on getting it back. Like this is a federal level, maybe a mass EMP or something. And yes, I know I sound like a prepper. I don't care. But something that takes the grid down. Not zombies, not nuclear war, not the Russians are coming, falling from the trees. But just your general, you're on your own.
If I am not actively carrying it somewhere, there is no such thing as too much.
So, yeah, but the question is your stockpile. And I don't expect anyone to tell their secrets, because I sure won't. But there are so many people who think there is a specific number or a specific caliber or combination of calibers. And a lot of preppers that lean hard on rimfire because they're lightweight. You could kill anything with the correct shot placement. Well, sure, dude, but you're talking about super precise placement on a lot of animals. So, Paul's got something.
My rule for around our house is 200 rounds for every handgun. Now, most of our handguns are 9mm. That's 200 rounds each of defensive ammo for each handgun. There's so much overlap that I've got. We're leaving at a lot of 9mm defensive ammo here. I've got 1,000 for each of the ARs, and I've got 200 of 30-30, which is my other rifle. My go-to hunting rifle is 30-30. But you need a good amount to feed each one, and you want for the prepping, for if things go really bad, you want it all to be defensive or hunting rounds, because let's be honest, things will change if society happens to hit like that, but it won't change, I don't believe, outside the rule of law. People will there may not be police around to enforce the law, but there'll be a lot of regular people enforcing law. I think violent crime goes down. I think you'll need more hunting for ammo. You'll still need more ammo, more for putting stuff on the plate for your family. However, don't skim.
Yeah, I mean the stuff. Speaking of say 9mm, because most of the handguns are 9mm. I have stuff set aside that I've reloaded with quality hollow points, because I can still do that a heck of a lot cheaper than I can buy the defensive ammo that I use for carry. That is specifically designed. I can avoid. You can avoid anybody trying to say you tried to make extra deadly ammo, whatever. But so for daily carry, I use I use premium defensive ammo that is designed and sold as such by somebody else. But for stuff that is held in reserve, should it become necessary, I reload with quality hollow points. But I have a stack of 5-gallon buckets of brass, and I stockpile projectiles, powder, and primers where I can. So at any time, I probably have the ability to produce more ammo than I have loaded and in stock, because I'm not doing, I'm not shooting competitively 10,000 rounds a year. So I'm not going to blow through 1,000, 2,000 rounds in a single month anymore.
Yeah, and I fully admit that I do not have thousands of rounds for every caliber I have in the house.
You've got a lot of calibers, though.
I don't know how many I have anymore. It's been a long
That's my
time since I
point.
counted. Like 458 SOCOM, I have a couple, but I have maybe a couple hundred rounds tops. 50 Beowulf, same. Just stuff I don't bother with. I like having a little bit, but and we've got a comment again from KB Barry. Bullet casting is a must also, and he's right, because you're not always going to be able to find those projectiles.
Yep.
You have to be able to cast them somehow. Remember that scene in The Patriot where he melts down the little tin soldiers, the little lead tin soldiers? Yeah. I mean, you have to have casting know-how and material, and then you are looking at primers and powder as a problem.
Yep.
And it's not one that's easy to solve. So I hate to say it, but know where they are, know where they're stored, know what stores sell them. If you're in an end of the world crap hits the fan situation, know where they are.
I want to bring up one thing that hasn't, I don't think, ever been mentioned anywhere in prepping. At least I've never heard of it. And for the very beginning level of prepping, this won't even carry you. This will be good if your city loses power for a couple days. This will be good if the very minor emergencies that you're going to get through in 3 to 5 days.
Those are the most likely scenarios. Yes.
You need cash.
Yeah, we're not cashless yet.
No, and gold will not do anything for you in the short term. Precious metals, longer term, yes. But in the very short term, gold, silver, hell, even ammo isn't going to do a hell of a lot for you. Very short term, cash will.
Yeah, that's true. Having cash on hand is smart. I used to be better about keeping a supply of it around. But yeah, cash. Because also small things happen too, like banking systems crashing and stuff going down. And if all your ability is either plastic or those Google Pay or whatever scan and go stuff, you're going to be screwed.
Yep.
And ask me if overseas hackers would be most likely to go after our banking system electronically. That's the smart thing to do.
Yep, that's one of the big ones.
Have cash.
Comment, some people forget a lot of things like paper plates and plastic software. If you have don't have a bunch of water, you aren't having a lot for washing dishes. I got news for you. I use paper plates and plastic software because I hate doing dishes. But
I hate dishes too.
I hate dishes, but there are 8 people in my house. My dishwasher gets run 2 to 3 times a day most of the time. But
I am the dishwasher, so.
Well, I mean, where I grew up, loading the dishwasher meant getting mom drunk.
Yeah.
But because I grew up in a fairly rural place, but this is one of the reasons that we do take our kids camping, and we have dishes that we take camping. Is my kids are unique amongst their peer group, and they know how to hand wash dishes, and they know how to do it with only a little bit of water. Because you ain't running the dishwasher if the utility's down. You have small amounts of water. You figure, you're most likely you're going to have to wash stuff. You're going to figure out how to do it with minimal water usage. And when we're camping and we have, a gallon jar of water, this is what you have to wash and rinse the dishes that 8 of us just used. You learn. I think that's one of the things is learning skills and, thinking ahead. I
Yeah,
have, say here at the house, I have the ability, I have the ability to cook with natural gas. If we lose electrical, if we lose both electric and gas, I have the means to be able to cook for everybody with fire, and there's sufficient wood to give us cooking fuel for a week or two at least. But you've also got to know how to do those things.
Yeah, but the good news is that fires are fairly idiot proof. And the griddles and grills that run off propane and propane accessories are actually quite useful if you don't have electricity.
Yep.
It comes in handy, and you can get all kinds of burner attachments for those. You don't have to get fancy with it. It's useful. But something else is knives, and not just knives, but the ability and know how to sharpen them.
Oh, God,
because
yes.
your knives aren't going to stay sharp. Believe me, I have lost count of how many I've killed, and I've got one I need to throw out because I've sharpened it too much. It's getting a little bit sad looking. But yeah, knives, more than one knife, more than one kind of knife. Be willing to invest in some decent knives because they're just invaluable.
And every once in a while, go and get them professionally sharpened.
Yeah.
You don't need to do it all the time. Your the stuff you have at home will work, for 6-8 months of hard use, but twice a year, go get the thing professionally sharpened. And when you do, that first time you bring them home, you use that knife, you're going to be going, why didn't I do that sooner? This is so nice.
Yeah, and be aware there are lubes and preservative coatings for knives. It's not just guns.
Yes.
So you can get the proper oils to take care of your good knives. And something else you can do, and that I totally have a box of in the kitchen, is disposable scalpels. They're cheap, they're awesome, they're super freaking sharp right out of the box. Obviously, that's not a realistic long-term solution, but they are great. They're super handy. So
yeah, we've got a lot of medical supplies because my wife works in medicine. So we have and we have stuff that is set aside for managing some of the conditions in our house, mostly me. I have
something else. Yeah.
I have IV kits and cases of IV fluids because of the way that I'm missing parts of my digestive system. I have to stay hydrated. It's damn near impossible to stay hydrated when I'm working in the heat without IV fluids. So we've got that stock. We've got that stocked up. We've got all the basic wound care stuff is stocked up.
Yeah, and it's not just LRS either. I mean, if you can do a little bit of studying, you want your LRS bags, you want dextrose, you want sodium. There's different uses for everything. If you can only get one, get your LRS bags. You can always add stuff to them.
Yeah, rotated ringers is what I stock.
They're easier than you think. Placing them is easier than you think. And it might take you a few tries, but you'll get it. And the person who desperately needs them is better off alive than wincing about their blown veins in their hand.
Yeah.
So,
and that's actually one of the things. If we were to have some kind of natural disaster hit during the summer, we're regularly over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. If we're trying to dig out of a major earthquake or something, you're going to have people who are getting basic injuries. You're going to have a lot of heat injuries, especially if your water supply's been disrupted. Something to think about.
Yeah, for sure. And Paul, I'm curious. So, do you guys have a filtration system or plan of any kind in place? Like if you had to clean water somehow and you didn't have the electricity to just boil it on the stove?
We have just a pitcher that we run water. It's very low volume. Just a pitcher that you pour water into and it filters it.
Yeah, and that's a good example of how simple it can be.
Yeah, it's enough for Susan and I, and that's about it. Right now, honestly, I got a bunch of don't mean to plug them, but Walmart. I got 2 or 3 flats of these in the house, 40 packs of half-liter waters, and that'll last me several days.
I keep those stacked. You know, it's the water here is crap, and so that's usually the go-to. especially for the coffee maker, which I need coffee, okay? So you need to have some kind of drip system set up. You need something, or a press, because it's very
Percolator.
important. It's very important. But I'm
I
trying to think. Meds are none of us have insulin, right?
no,
No.
I'm not that
So
diabetic, so no.
yeah, so the refrigerated type of meds, I don't have any of those that I need to stock. But that's another good question, is if you do, it's a good idea to get, you can get very small battery packs and generators, you guys. They don't have to be big and expensive. You'd be amazed how small they make them now.
Yep.
So you can just refrigerate the tiny amount, get one of those little tiny dorm desktop fridges and a backup battery for it. You could do that setup for a couple $100.
I
And
could,
keep
Yeah, you
stuff
can.
cold as long as possible.
if I could point my camera over that way a bit, I've got a little dorm refrigerator right here in my studio that right now is got some water in it, but that's it. But yeah, I mean, they're $100 to pick up a good quality dorm refrigerator that'll last you forever.
Yeah, it's well worth it. And Paul, you're talking about what's near you. I have skulls. Is that weird? Is that normal? I've got like a lot of skulls.
For you, that's
But-
normal.
But seriously, I mean, being self-sufficient is important, and even like the birds I have are multi-purpose. Eggs, meat. If you need to eat, go get one. If you're thinking you'll go into the woods and shoot a wild turkey, I'm gonna warn you, it's not as easy as you think. And they're
And
not
also,
always as
everybody
beautiful
else
as
is
you
going to
think.
be doing that.
And then it will be a shooting gallery like opening day of whitetail season, where half the people almost get murdered. So it's rough.
I want to get back
What
to
do we
this
got?
one. Used water jugs are great to keep specifically for flushing toilets. Doesn't matter if the water isn't potable. Great point.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have water in the house, that toilet isn't going to work, and it's not going to be long before you're going to be abandoning that shelter because you can't handle it anymore. And it's not healthy.
And remember to reuse your water. It's in that situation, water is not one and done.
Yep.
There's stages of what you can use it for. So don't be like, I used this to do so and so, it's trashed out. No, wait. Remember. Heck, when I was a kid, there was more than one time we took a bath in the big old igloo coolers in the kitchen when the power was out. And God help you if you were the last person to get your cooler bath, because that water was.
Well,
not
that's how
clean.
families used to do it.
Yeah, it is.
Dad would get a bath first, and then mom, and then each of the kids by age till the baby's getting bathed in the filthy leavings.
Which is
Yes.
exactly where don't throw the baby out with the bathwater comes from.
Some people should.
That actually
though.
makes sense. Well, some
Some
people
people
should
should, I'm
have
just saying.
decades ago, but now we have to deal with them.
I gotta see why my dogs are freaking out like the devil himself is outside. Probably the wind. Thank you for saving me from the wind. Heaven's sake.
We actually had, and I hope I don't offend anybody here, but I really don't care if I do.
Fine.
We had our dog save us today. More specifically, Susan, I am not feeling well today. You may not notice it, but I have come down with a really, really, really nasty, ugly cold. And but I was in the bedroom resting, actually napping, and dog was out in the living room with Susan and started, well, I want to go outside. I want to go outside. I want to go outside. So Susan let the dog outside. A little while later, the dog was making a lot of noise outside, and we like to stay friendly with our neighbors. So when the dog starts barking like he's losing his mind, we'd like to bring the dog in. Well, Susan goes to answer the door, and here off the street, walking up towards our gate, are two Jehovah's Witnesses. And Jack is making a beeline across the yard going for the gate. And Susan just says to them, look, he's trying to tell you what I'm going to tell you anyway. We're not interested. They said, okay, turn around and left. And so Jack saved Susan from the Jehovah's Witnesses today.
That's fair. I'm really glad they don't usually come out here, out this far.
They've been to my house once. They've never come back.
I'd probably just tell them I'm a Satanist, and that would be the end of that. Prepping for dogs. Yes, meds for dogs, food for dogs. Remembering that they can eat all kinds of crap. Not everything we can, but they can eat a lot of it. Rice, good filler. They can eat eggs. There's all kinds of stuff. Vegetables.
Uncooked
almost
bones.
Everything. So there's a lot of stuff you can feed them if you run out of food. Ideally, if you can have a few months of dog food on hand, that's fantastic. Here, it's almost not humanly possible. I go through close to 50 pounds a week, 7 to 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah, well, 2 Danes and a Catahoula and a healer. So, yeah. But you do your best and you stock what you can, and you remember medical supplies for your pets because, for example, this is like one of the rare times those god-awful rats tourniquets are useful, is for your pets or small children. So you remember everything. And the same for the IV for the animals. Have those LRS bags on hand. If you can have some metronidazole on hand also, if they get horrific diarrhea, that's perfect. But
metronidazole is the first line of defense for any parasites that infect humans as well.
It is. It's a good one to have. And
God,
Bufferin,
I've spent months taking that stuff.
Oh God, yeah. Bufferin is safe for your dogs. Do not give them a fistful of Tylenol, but if you get Bufferin, you're good. So that's another good one to have on hand for minor aches and pains. But yeah, definitely the animals. I mean, I could give you a whole freaking list. I have a lot of supplies for medical problems for animals because I like my animals more than people, if we're being honest. So,
well, and you've also worked in vets' offices in the past, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a long time. I did emergency vet med almost a decade, but I'm just a writer now. So
yeah, you still have the relevant experience and knowledge.
I write, I drink coffee, and I hate people. That's what I do. Those are my things. But before we take the left-handed turn, because I can see Paul thinking about going to the left turn. Am I right?
We're getting a lot of comments. This is going well.
Oh, well, we can keep going. I mean, I think all of us will have stuff to say for all our different perspectives.
Yeah.
Yeah, KB Barry said the same thing. He's got a Kangal, and it's hard to keep food on hand. They're cool dogs, though. They're awesome dogs. But, yeah, it can be hard, but they will eat just about anything. You know, they might suffer a little bit for a while with a food change, but if everything is going sideways, that's the least of your concerns, frankly.
Oh,
go, Brian.
I just thought of something going back to bullet casting. One of the you cast bullets you can use basically for subsonic stuff only, because supersonic you're gonna lead the crap out of your barrels. You can look into swaging jackets out of brass. They're the dies and stuff that mount on your press for that, so that you can actually make decent quality rifle bullets using spent cases for bullet jackets.
Yeah, you have options
if you think that's necessary for you.
But for a lot of people, I admit, for most gun owners, it's more reasonable to just stockpile ammo. Which is another reason to make sure you take good care of your ammo, and you consider the moisture and the humidity in the area where you're storing your ammo. I mean, I can just go on and on. There's an endless list. But the first rule is just make sure you have the ammo. Oh, and spare parts for your guns, because if everything goes down, you want a few extra parts. Anything that's likely to break and is a stress point, get another one. They're actually very cheap still. It's like one of the few things.
Yeah, springs, firing pins, ejectors.
Magazines, too, because they fail. And
by the way,
you can maintain your magazines. Magazines aren't just toss them and you're done. You can take them apart and maintain them. So
clean them, dry lube, check the springs, replace the springs on a reasonable schedule.
I'm a big fan of rotating ammo. However, ammo doesn't necessarily go bad. It takes a lot to ruin ammo.
It does.
I've heard stories of recently people firing surplus ammo from the Vietnam War and it still works fine. So we're talking 55, 60-year-old ammo that's still operating fine. I don't know that I'd go back to World War II, but I don't know that I might not fire it in a gun I really care about, but I might still try it.
Or get yourself a good lead sled and make the first pull of the trigger from a distance. Just lock it in there and shoot it from a distance, see what happens. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, for the most part, once it's new enough to not be loaded with cordite, because cordite will degrade into smaller grains and then burn a whole lot faster. But generally, if it's been loaded with modern smokeless powders, you're not looking at too much in the way of problems as long as it's been properly stored.
And if you're thinking you're just going to use your muzzle loader or something, great. You still need all the supplies to fire it, and boy, do those things get dirty.
Yep, and then you got to clean
way
them.
dirtier than you think. Just
and
filthy.
I really hope you don't have to take a follow-up shot.
Yeah, that would not be good news. That's when you have your knife in your other hand and hope for the best. Pretty much.
Yeah.
We got more comments, Paul. It looks like you're looking at something.
No, we're last comment I see is about prepping for puppies. So
yeah, that's a huge whole list. That's a whole thing. But the big thing is meds, food, water for everybody.
You know, Kat, you were saying you got a couple of Danes. Susan and I earlier today we were watching I want to say it was Crimes Gone Viral or something like that. It was just a show that we were mindlessly streaming as we were, making dinner and walking around the house and doing stuff. But mom was at home with two of her puppies, a Dane and a Chihuahua, and her disabled son who was blind and developmentally disabled. And home invader comes walking in, and she's not armed. I mean, this is not an armed citizen story. She looks at the guy and she just screams in terror. And Chihuahua was already in attack mode, but that got Dane that I need to protect mommy. And the Great Dane went to town, and that was very satisfying to watch.
Oh, I bet. I do tell people if they're people I trust that if you want to know who the most dangerous dog is here, it's not the biggest one.
No.
It's going to be Doc. He's a healer and he's got that whole thing going with loyalty. But yeah, the big dogs, especially Hank with his one good eye and all, very protective. Does not like strangers. And I'm fine with that. So, got more comments or are people winding down?
I think we're starting to wind down a little bit. Do we want to do a left turn? I honestly don't have anything in mind for a left turn.
We can. We didn't even talk about canning. I am displeased. But we don't have to talk about canning. It's fine. Well, now everyone's interested in hunting and
I'm interested in canning.
And you can can your game meat too, by the way, people. And if you don't
Pressure
have a pressure canner, you don't have to have a pressure canner. You can water bath it as long as you're going to keep your water bath going for a good 90 minutes to 3 hours, depending on the size of the jar. You can do water. And you also don't have to have a special pot for a water bath. You can use really any stock pot and throw like a tea towel in the bottom so that the metal doesn't touch the glass, and you're golden. So it's another really simple thing. And you can reuse the jars with lug lids at the grocery store, like they have olives and pickles. Totally reusable. So
I'm a little leery of pressure canning. I see those things are just bombs waiting to happen.
They've changed. They're much better. Like I have one that's probably about 60 years old. And that one is definitely concerning. But I have a newer one, and it's great. It's gotten way safer the way they do it. The gauges and dials and weights, so much better. I I read a study on it some time ago, and they are just markedly safer compared today than they were even 10, 20 years ago. But yeah, the old ones are a little scary. I will admit that.
Hadn't
Yeah.
even thought about freeze drying. And
Oh, they're awesome if you can keep them running.
They're so expensive, which is a bummer because I think they're freaking cool and I want one, but they're expensive.
I know how much my mom spends on trying to keep hers running and maintained. And
what's her problem with hers? Is it like a lower end one? Is it old? What's the deal?
It's hers is about 5 years old, and I know she spent almost $5,000 on it. And it's not a huge one. It's supposed to be a nice unit, but there are constant seal failures, and she's had problems with the electronics from day one, and ends up having to have a tech sent out for $275 an hour to diagnose and then repair the damn thing.
Yeah, and that is a thing with pressure canners on a smaller scale. I always have at least a couple of new seals and weights in the house, so that if the seals, the weights, or the tray need to be replaced or can't be used, I'm not screwed. And you're supposed to inspect them every time you use it. So
yeah, and that goes with keeping parts, keeping batteries. If you're mechanically inclined, reasonable consumable parts and fluids for your vehicles. If they're, because in a lot of disasters, you're still going to be able to use those to some point, having the ability to perform some basic repairs on yours or on those or other equipment. Having a couple of cans of carb cleaner and gas preservative and stuff like that. Part of the thing is one, being realistic about what you're likely to face for where you live, where you're located, and the other is accommodating your skills and abilities, because there are things that are that are dead nut simple for me, that are just completely out of the realm of possibility for other people who don't get stupid nerdy about how things work and how to fix them.
But you're not allowed to use sharp objects, and that's kind of a problem for getting stuff done.
So. I mean, for you, Kat, breaking down an animal and processing it is no big deal. For somebody who's never done it and does not have any idea of how the anatomy works, or how you go through that process, that's a completely daunting prospect for them.
Yeah, but you can do it. And there's another comment from Katie Berry on here that's worth backing up for. He was saying he used some Appalachian folks who canned venison in the past, and I still can venison. I also feel weird calling him KB Berry because I know his name. He makes rifles, by the way. Anyway, but I still do it. I do plain venison with nothing, and I just chop it and I use it for salads or whatever the heck I want. I do pepper steak venison and have lost most of my stockpile to Grace's boyfriend Danny, because apparently he really likes it. She tried to make it with beef, and he was like, well, this is good, but the venison is better. So at Christmas, I was like, here. So that's
I can
great.
Make more.
Venison stew. Really easy to can with venison. It doesn't get gamey or weird. I think it cans better than beef, honestly.
Let me ask this, Kat. Have you ventured into making jerky with a dehydrator?
I have. Yeah, I like having a jerky gun. Some people like to cut it. I'm one of those freaks who prefers it to bite cleanly and not be stringy. So I usually grind and use a jerky gun, but I've done it both ways. You can do a dehydrator. You can use your oven on a low setting.
You can use your smoker.
You can use the smoker. I mean, I've got an upright smoker and just a standard smoker, so I have both options. I use the upright like for summer sausage. Venison summer sausage, fabulous. And pigs, something people talk about with feral hogs. Oh, they're disgusting. You can't eat them. I mean, the heck you can't. I don't know who spreads this misinformation, but I don't care how big and stinky that boar is. I can use the meat. It's all about in how you dress it, process it, cook it. It's fine. It tastes great. So always at least take their back straps and hams, for God's sake. Don't waste the meat. But
Yeah, I need to get back out to visit you and kill some pigs this time instead of doing home maintenance for all of my friends. Well, most
Yeah,
of
you
my
seem to
friends.
do that a lot.
I never even made it to your house last time.
No, I'm fine at the moment, but it's going to be a long spring and summer because I don't know how long I won't be shooting. I have a feeling it's going to be a while, but I was going to say left turn, but it looks like our viewership is still up pretty good.
Well, this is the only thing I can think of for a left turn, and that is this. For me, I am extremely annoyed twice a year, once in the spring and once in the late fall. And that is when the government decides that we're all going to have to turn our clocks an hour forward in the spring or an hour back in the fall. Pick a damn time and stick with it. I would prefer standard time, but if you all want summertime all year long, we'll stick with daylight savings time. I don't care. Just
I'll take
quit
year-round
screwing with
daylight savings, please.
Yeah, it's better for farmers. Texas is trying to do that, but it requires congressional approval to not just go to standard.
I like standard time simply because I live up in the northern hinterlands up here. Okay, if you stick with daylight savings time during the winter, the kids are all going to school in pitch black.
Yeah, mine do that part of the year regardless. So
I have nothing nice to say about other people's kids for the most part. So screw those kids; they'll be fine. Give them a flashlight, whatever.
Most of them aren't walking to school anymore or taking the school bus.
That's true.
That's
true.
That's a weird societal shift that I've noticed in the last 25 years, 25-ish years since I was attending a public school. Is even the kids who live in areas with busing, vast majority of them, their parents drive them to school.
Yeah, they do.
That might be a factor of the area I live in to some degree, but that seems to have gone kind of everywhere.
Here it's the only choice. The bus doesn't get you unless you live way outside of town. So they're going to bike, they're going to ride, or be driven. Those are the only options. Bo keeps asking to ride his bike, and I'm like, dude, you're 4. You're not riding your bike to pre-K. Why not? You're not riding your bike to pre-K.
Also, your roads are not the most bike friendly.
Oh, they're horrible. I think that's why
there is no
tire
shoulder.
Mine blew. Yeah, there's nothing. They're horrible, and there's potholed, and I hate them. And I have something before we wrap. Paul, do we have any more questions or comments? Or
we're good?
No.
Okay, I had something. It is gun industry related, and I'm probably going to mention it on every freaking podcast until the end of the resolution of this. So a lot of people, including people listening, know who Kevin Michalowski is. He's the executive editor at USCCA. Kevin is awesome. He has saved my ass several times. Can I say that on here? Well, hopefully. In the last decade. He's quieter than you would think at times, but he has a good heart. He's a heart of gold. His 23-year-old son, Andrew, was killed on Wednesday and in Mexico. And because it's Mexico, they're not going to get his body back for a while. They're hoping March 23rd. And the reason I mention this is Kevin goes above and beyond for people, and the only thing he wants for his son's service is colorful flowers. So I'm going to start pushing this hard when we get an actual date, and I'll get the location up and all that. And I know a lot of people on here are like, why are we talking about this? Because we take care of our own. He's a good guy. He lost his child. He just wants flowers. I mean, I talked to him. I'm thinking we're going to do something else. No, he wants flowers. So a bunch of us will, do our best to make sure that happens. I want to see that place overflowing with flowers when the date comes. So I'm sure I'll mention it next week too, because there's no way they'll have him back yet. So that's all I was going to mention.
And we'll talk afterwards, of course, but Kat, please feel free to use the social media platform for the show to promote that. We have a pretty good reach on social media.
Yeah.
So
I will. I'm hoping There's nothing you can say to a man who just lost his child.
No, there's not.
I just cannot imagine a 23-year-old. It's just horrifying. Absolutely horrifying. And on that cheerful note,
Yeah,
you're welcome,
exactly.
guys.
All right. Well, I do think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you, everybody, for watching who caught us live. Thank you, all the listeners who catch us on podcast. If you are catching us on podcast, email us trpp1776@yahoo.com. As soon as we get comments by email, I'll get them in on the air. I promise you. But that is going to do it for us today, folks. Thanks a bunch, and we'll see you next time.